A little bit about education. When I was a kid, we were #1 in the world. Now, where are we at? That's another thing I worry about my grandchildren.
Well,
I've read you can forget about ever paying for your college education because you aren't going to do it. If you're going to go so far in debt getting that, it's just ridiculous. Kids can't go to college without, it's terrible. And then the quality of education, like I said, look at our science and mathematics and everything else, and where we rank in the world. Yeah. It's sad. It's terrible.
Okay, would you probably disagree with me if I say money's not the solution?
I don't know what the solution is.
Yeah. Well,
I really don't.
Let me explain why and I'm not saying teachers should make more money. I'm just saying if you accept the proposition that money's going to make a difference in education. We spend $9,000 per student in Iowa. In Washington, D.C., they spend about $14,000. In Newark, New Jersey, they spend about $23,000. In Washington, D.C. and Newark, only half of the people graduate and the half that
I don't think money's the solution.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I think there's there's not enough parental involvement in education. Parents have to teach their kids, first of all, education is important. Education, book learning is more important than sports. Homework's more important than TV. Weekends are not just for leisure. I mean, why is Asia ahead of us and everything? They go to school 5.5 days out of the year. I mean, 5.5 days a week. You know, there's an ethic there. I see it in my own grandchildren because I have a daughter-in-law from Korea. A whole different attitude of family than what we have in America. And so there's some basic things wrong with our society as a whole that has to be changed in order to change education. But most of it comes from the family.
I don't know if I can agree with that. You're saying the family doesn't support your kids in the education system? I don't agree with that.
Well, I think we support them by going to basketball games. But I don't know whether we support them on the amount of studying they're doing. And is study the most important thing in the world, or is something else the most important thing in the world?
I think most families support their kids and want them to get a good education and do the best they can for their education. They go, look at the people that go to the parents that go to attend the parent conference meetings. I think that I can agree with it a little bit, but I don't really think that's the answer. I think the time that perhaps they spend in school isn't the same time they spend in Japan and the quality of that education.
I'll disagree with you on that, Tom. I worked with juvenile probation for 5 years, and I can tell you, even then, in the job I have now, there are a lot of parents who really don't take much time to spend with their children. There are some who work 2 jobs, and there are some who don't work at all, and they just do not take an interest in their kids. No, it's not the minority at all. There's a lot. The minority is getting to be the parents who spend the time with their kids, who set down some rules, have bedtimes, curfews, requirements for education. Those are almost a minority anymore, and that's really shocking to me when I go into the schools and see that.
I think that's important. Don't get me wrong on that. But I think if I look at my granddaughter's class and 20 kids there, I think by far a majority of those parents take a real interest in their child's education. In my opinion.
I think there's been a lowering of the bar in curriculum and dedication by teachers as well. But I think Chuck's probably got the base point that needs to be made, and then you go from there.